Greetings, this is Byrne and welcome to Georgian Crossroads. On this video we are going to start where we left off on the last video, exploring Truso Gorge. But it's a different day, we're starting off, it's going to be very cold and eventually it's going to get very warm. I hope you enjoy the journey. Come along with me. I'm sure you will see some surprises. So this was the road that I drove beyond the point of the last video. And it was a very steep road and was like just room enough for one car, just incredibly dangerous. But, you know, I did it. This is really the Truso Gorge area, as opposed to the valley, which you'll see in a little bit. And you see these rocks, this brownish area that you'll see up there is filled with calcium and salts and other minerals that are creating, it's a similar effect to Mammoth Springs in Yellowstone National Park. So this is the Truso River, and we're going to drive up this way. I stopped at this one point, and I was given two possible ways to go. One over the top on these really sketchy round pipes, and the other through quite a bit of water. I chose to go over the top part, and it felt very strange. But I like this gorge area quite a bit. There's the Neva that I really needed, that Neva on this trip. You needed something with a high center. And check out this water. This is June. The snow is melting. It's getting warm up there. Started off very cold in the morning, but got warm very quickly. So now I'm going to drive over another small bridge on my way up, and you can see it's going to the gorge is going to open up into a valley. But this was the best bridge I drove over. There's one coming up that was really narrow and ominous sounding to drive over. And because I was early, I think this is about 8 o'clock in the morning, there was no one else on the road yet. And eventually I would mention, and you'll hear me do this later, someone passing me, and I'm joking saying, they're long bearded shepherds, but the shepherds just generally didn't have beards. Then I joked maybe they were hipsters. But in fact, I think they were monks from this monastery. Well, this seems to be a good time to stop and take stock of this. I am torn between thinking I should have walked this, which would be a heck of a long way, and wondering why on earth I brought the vehicle. But all I can say is that only the Neva would have stood up to the torturous conditions of the road I just drove through. I cannot believe when it turned into the travertines, which are basically salt deposits and other minerals. Literally it was going up and down 3 or 4 feet, and I just now call this the here comes a vehicle going by. looks like shepherds. Very long-bearded Georgians. Either that or they're hipsters. But where was I? Oh, just incredible roads. And then this cliff road I'm driving on, filled with freshly hewn sedimentary rocks and slate and other very sharp stones. Oh, I can't even imagine this in a lesser vehicle. Fortunately, this has got new tires. They're thick, unworn. But wow, what a valley. What a valley. I just can't even begin to explain it. It's so beautiful up here and quiet. I can see a shepherd encampment further up, and I've seen cows. I've heard sheep or goats off in the distance. And all the hills have the familiar markings of cows walking, even places where it looks like the cliff eroded a long time ago. Really amazing. And I can see the spine of the Caucasus from here. I see fortresses of, it looks like Catrici, if I'm not mistaken, coming up. We'll go about that far and investigate that area before we turn around and go back. But, and I woke up specifically much earlier today, which I recommend because I saw enough traffic yesterday to give me pause, although I could hit it on the way out and have a lot of fun on that gorge road trying to navigate with other vehicles. So, get back in the Neva and let's go. This is good. So this is the abandoned village of Catrici, and lots of old stone. I mean, this really felt archaic. And I highly recommend stopping here when you are in the area and just looking around these abandoned ruins. the word rustic doesn't even begin to apply. I mean, even medieval seems a little too recent. There are two cowboys here, although they're not on horses. Makes me wonder about certain films which show cowboys in such a clean light. Would they be so clean and scrubbed? I don't think so. And what else can you do with antique ruins? Oh, look at that guy. That's a noble dog. I just saw a huge Caucasian shepherd, and I don't mean a cowboy or a man tending sheep, but rather a dog sitting in the window. I'm going to try to get a better photo of him. That's about as close as I'm going to get to that huge dog. He's just sitting in the window, waiting for something to spring him into life, like me getting too close to the cows or something. I don't know. Maybe not. But he seems cool with me at this distance, so I'll be cool with him. It's time to leave here. There's a younger shepherd, cowboy, moving the cattle along. And at this point, I am the furthest out that I decided to travel on this road, and I'll explain why in a minute. Looking up valley there towards the mountains, and the mountains straight ahead of me are actually in South Ossetia, which is the reason why I'm not going any further on this road. Now, you saw, if you were looking, there was a building further up the road, and I'm going to explain what that building was in a minute. It was a very quiet place, a good place to stop for lunch, eat off the side of the road, look at the mountains, and one thing that you will notice coming up here in a moment is that further up the road there is a tower, there is another stone building, and I even see a part of what looks like a shrine. I did not decide to go to that area for a reason. Once you get there, you'll see there's another building where people are obviously working there. Once you get there, you're not quite at the South Ossetia border yet, but they do not let you pass that area without a pass, and even to get there, they need to look at your passport. And I just decided, no, I'm fine. I can look at this from here. I don't need to go up to it. And the tower looked newer, didn't look particularly like an old ruin. So that was my reason for not going up any further on this road. And that mountain, on the other side of those mountains, is South Ossetia, and that is a no-go zone for anyone in Georgia because of the tensions and the separatist and the war in 2008. So, yeah, this was a good place to stop. So I turned back around at this point to head towards the monastery. I believe that's the 12 Apostles Monastery. This is where the guys with the long beards driving a truck were coming from, most likely. And I think that, well, you'll see some images from this area in just a moment. Cows grazing on the road, gates of the monastery, nice sign, all just for you. But I really suggest going out here. I don't know if you can go up to that monastery. I didn't try. It didn't look particularly open to the public. It's okay. Okay, so coming up in just a moment, I'm going to drive over a very sketchy little bridge and then meet my nemesis. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Precisely my worst nightmare. Caucasian shepherd dog attacks guy. Fortunately, I think it's just the vehicle. Okay, now, this is nice. Some shepherds or cowboys doing their thing. I'm staying in first gear most of the time. I do recommend bringing a walking stick just for an extra layer of protection. Now we're on the drive back. Now the road here was really rough. I'm driving on the way back, and I didn't take any video on the way out because I had no idea what the road was doing. It was crazy, and even this is quite crazy. I'm holding my camera with one hand, but you can see the vehicle just going up and down, and I'm hitting, some pretty deep puddles of water. Don't stop. Quite enjoyable. crazy road. So I'm crossing this bridge here. It's where the hiking trail goes. And there is a special lake that I didn't get as far as. I was thinking of going to see it. But the actual trail, it's hard to know. There's not a lot of good signage here. So it's hard to know that you should cross this and go over here. Now, I was kind of expecting the lake to be right in here, but it wasn't. I had to go up a tire stairway. What to do with old tires? Maybe not. Some of these tires feel kind of squishy. If I'm breathing hard, it's because I'm more than 7,000 feet up. But there's a Georgian flag up there, which is what's calling me. It could just be a Georgian flag. There's the view overlooking. You can see how far up that stairway actually went when you look down on the river from here. That's why I got so far out of breath, apart from the fact that I'm not the most athletic person in the world. But I am far up, and there's a Georgian flag here. The Georgian flag tempted me to think the lake was up there, but no, it wasn't. But nevertheless, while I was up there, there was a trail that was going towards the lake, but I was just kind of dawdling on the way home, and I wasn't in the mood to start a new exploration. I was pretty full at this point, and if I ever go back, I'll definitely go to that lake. Some wonderful wildflowers here. And again, June is a wonderful time for wildflowers in the Caucasus, and you should visit if you love wildflowers, great time to visit. The hill just goes up and up and up and up and up, and that's another thing that tempts me, is just to keep going up from this side. And if I got to that little ridge there, I am sure I would be another 1,500 feet up the road, another I don't know, about 500 meters up, more further up there from where I am, which is around 7,000 feet. And that's looking down at those mineral deposits that cross the road. So this was a very unusual spot. And unfortunately, my camera isn't in very good focus here, but I still want to give you a sense of this. And here's the thing. If you stepped more than just a step or two off to the left, you would be rolling down this grassy hill into the river. It was just an incredible... If you have vertigo, don't go here. That's all I can tell you. I'm not giving you the full picture of it, but... And if you go another kilometer or two up this trail, you will eventually get to this very special lake that I was telling you about, that has weird, like, bubbling under, like, I guess, not quite a hot spring, but something. I never got there. Okay, let's drive through hell. This is the worst driving I've ever done. And what's happening is this salty sulfuric water is carving new ruts as it goes on. Now, I made the mistake of trying to come up on the left, and then I realized the right is probably the better route. But now I'm doubting, and I'm going to go to the left again. It just looks like a huge puddle there, but we'll see. This is just crazy. Okay, well, there, I did that. I remember that on the way up. Okay. Somehow it doesn't seem as long going back. On the way up, it was just like, what's going to happen? All right. Okay. I think that's enough adventure. Okay, so what's your name?
Linda.
Mark, and you're from New York City?
Yes.
Yes.
And you're a long way from New York City. Why are you here?
Our daughter's on her honeymoon taking the Silk Road. She's been on the road for 11 months.
Okay.
We had to catch up with her somewhere.
That's a long honeymoon, but yeah.
So we decided to meet here.
Very good. And what do you think of Georgia so far?
You know, I like it, but I changed my opinion just a couple of minutes ago, because the people have seemed rather unfriendly, and this couple just drove by and they couldn't speak any English, but they were so friendly. They offered us a ride and all smiles. And...
Well, Georgian friendliness is different than American friendliness. Georgians, like, if you're walking through the streets of Tbilisi, everyone will be kind of like, you know, whatever. But as soon as you get to know anybody, it's like the lights are all on.
Oh, that's great.
And so, like in this little village I'm staying in, the first time I visited there, everyone was, even the kids were kind of like, but now they're waving at me and everything like that.
Yeah,
And
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very raw experience. It really is. I really like it, but you have to be prepared. There's not many amenities.
right.
So and if you could pick up any Russian, I guess that would
That'd be-
help.
Well, this
Really
area in
helpful.
particular, they speak Russian more than Georgian up here because they're right near the border.
Yeah, and a
Yeah.
lot of Russian tourists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been really
But the food is
interesting.
great.
Okay.
The food is cheap. The lodgings are cheap.
Yeah,
But
and no problems with
it's an
anything.
experience.
Yeah.
We're-
And the alphalbet is psychedelic.
Yeah, it
It
sure is.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a really good Peter Max painting. It's really nice.
Okay, I'm going to put some sort of note on that one. So, okay, well, I'm going to let you go, and you're on your way to try to get up as far as you can
Yeah.
towards Ossetia.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Good luck.
Russia or bust. All right.
Take a
Nice to meet
picture.
you.
I hope you enjoyed today's journey to the Truso Gorge in the Kazbegi area of the Caucasus Mountains, very high and far away from everything. And if you like this episode and want to see more like it, you can click subscribe and like. Well, what can I say? It's a very beautiful place. Thanks for coming with me today on Georgian Crossroads. This is Byrne, wishing you a very good trip. Kagad Ikhabi.